This is Tom Fiocchi from the Ohio University School of Theater Prop Shop, and today I'm going to basically start doing a demo on how to build a swept-hilted rapier. This one's actually going to be a copy of one of the rapiers from the Three Musketeers that was done in the 70s by Richard Lester. I'm actually not sure who actually designed and built these swords, but it's always been one of my favorites because I've seen that show since I was wee. So I'm going to get on with it. I'll basically show you the techniques that I'm using. First off, again, I'm going to have to do research. Okay, one of the things that's really important with this is to be able to find good pictures of it. It was really a little bit difficult. I've got some screen shots that I found. There's Oliver Reed taking a look at down his blade right at the very beginning of the first movie. Got some good pictures there, and there's actually found a couple other pieces like that. And basically what I did is I actually took a couple of swords I'd drawn before. I would guess, I believe this is actually technically a Pappenheimer style, but I'm not really quite sure. It's got a big, nice clamshell in it. It's a full hilt. So what I ended up doing is basically taking some pictures of swords that I'd done in the past, and I basically blew them up to fit the customer's hands, like this size, basically. I usually add a little bit more to them. Normally, most stage combatants will finger the grip, which means they'll loop a finger over the quillin, so it actually shortens the handle up a little bit. But the big deal about props in general is that in order to have a good prop, you have to have the proportions correct and the scale correct. So a cheater way of getting scale correct is to put your hand basically, over the where the handle is there. I take it to a Xerox machine out of photographs and I blow it up until my hand fits it. Okay? Or this would be right here would be the actual grip's length would be the length of my customer's length from here to here. Okay? And sometimes I'll add a little bit more. If you lengthen that a little bit, helps with balance a little bit because it's pushing the pommel back a little bit farther than that. You want to make sure that you have enough room for somebody. Normally when people fight, they're usually fighting with gloves. So we're going to make it a little bit larger than just that way. But I got to have some place to start, okay? Keeping the proportions up. Now what I've done with this is I've basically taken a similar design, putting a piece of tracing paper over top of it after I've got it blown up, and then just sketched around it. And then I've made a couple of artistic decisions about what exactly these look like. You couldn't get any good shots, and I actually just watched the movie 2 nights ago because it finally came in, and just wanted to check and see if there were any other pictures. And it's kind of tough to see. So I checked out the picture of Aramis's sword there. The pommel is so blocky and square, it looks awful. So I like this little taper here, so I'm going for that. Did the same thing here on that quillins, and basically laid this out. My customer wanted to have that floaty rim there, where there's actually a little bit of room between the plate and the rim there. And away we'll go. So I've kind of blown it up. I tend to don't worry about trying to draw in the other direction, like looking at it that way. Mainly because when I start to do the rings, I'm actually going to put my hand on this thing, and I'm going to basically play around with wire to kind of figure it out. And I can make it go back and forth, okay, until I get it so I think it looks right. And it has to be able to clear your knuckles and stuff. So that's where I'm started with this. I also was really hard. I couldn't really tell whether or not the handle was wire wrapped or not. It might have just been black leather. But I think from our case, I'm actually going to use black anodized wire for that. And I'm going to do Turk's heads because most of them have like wire Turk's heads at the base and the top of the handle. I'm going to use mild steel. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to be doing with it is basically using this thing as a plan. I'm going to start to cut pieces for this. Okay. I'm going to work for everything on the plane of the blade, which means I'm basically going to do, there's a plate here, there's actually going to be a tube made out of steel, basically it's a piece of steel pipe, and there's going to be a head block that's up here. There's going to be a piece of steel that comes out and forms this quillin, another one that forms that quillin. I'm going to do another piece of steel that will go up like this, will be bent with an oxyacetylene torch, and to create everything that's on that flat plane of the blade with no rings, no plate, no nothing. Then I'm also going to do a wooden, I usually use a hardwood handle for this, And that's going to actually be a piece of big round steel stock that I'll thread and tap, because it's the way we usually do it when we're doing stage combat swords. It allows you to loosen them up, take a look, change out blades, see if there's any damage, you know, so that they hold up and all. So